That was music, and I can't get it to turn off. That was music, beautiful music by Jill Matson. She is one of our bioacoustic practitioners, has a site called Jill's Wings of Light. She has a new ebook available for all of you. You can download, no charge. Just go to her site, jillswingsoflight.com. Go to the bottom of the page, sign up for a free MP3, and she will return the ebook link to you by your email. Thank you, Anne. We have some postings on Facebook that we're talking about on chat here for anybody here that's new with us. There is a new class coming up that you can possibly take for free. So go over to Facebook and check that again this evening. It's going to be about BioDiet. I'm going to post it right after the show. I'm going to try to give away some of the new software that we're going to talk about tonight, BioDiet. This is the second in a series of programs that we want to do. This is all coming to you. Well, maybe I can get it to show. This is all coming to you through our site, Sound Health. We did a workshop last week called Is Your Brain Making You Fat? And we talked about a lot of things. We're going to do a little review of that. And then today we're going to be talking about fat as your friend. That's kind of an odd idea, but really it is in there. We have information not only about Jill's download, but soundhealthoptions.com has a download for you, especially the new people or anybody who wants extra copies of this. Miracles of Non-Medicine is all about the doctors who work with us, and then Breaking the Sound Barriers of Disease. They are both available on our new website. I hope you're loving it. We are very happy that you guys are helping us put it all together. You can go to Downloads. NanoVoice is still there, the radiation software. And we just added 3 new softwares to the software list that's available, some of them to the public. We are doing a class right now, Happy Hour. We will be doing a 2-day technician and a 5-day technician class. A lot of this programming is free. Happy Hour is free. We will be doing another Happy Hour next week, and we're going to try to introduce the actual program at that time. Number 25. Okay. For those of you who want to join us on Happy Hour anytime and you don't have a link, we have set it up so that you can go just to our soundhealthoptions.com, go to Classes, Happy Hour, and down at the bottom it will take you right to the classes and our Happy Hour page. Now you may want to go back and look at the review that we did last week, because all of these classes have multi-purpose. We want to introduce you to bioacoustics. It's a practice forum for the people who have taken our professional classes. They're fun. We like doing vocal profiles, and we want to introduce all of this to the world. Now, last week when we were doing Is Your Brain Making You Fat?, we learned about things, neurotransmitters. We learned about dopamine and norepinephrine, serotonin, amylase, which is an enzyme to digest carbohydrates. We talked to you about dopamine controls the metabolism of the body, that norepinephrine is part of the control of dopamine, Serotonin helps influence your appetite, and you'll see at the bottom here, dopamine's a D sharp, norepinephrine's an E, and serotonin is an F. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Well, when we begin to look at this, and last week we did an evaluation for a person. We did it with NanoVoice, and we also did it the long way around, but the more accurate way. So tonight, the request has been that we stick with NanoVoice and teach you more about NanoVoice, because that program is absolutely free on the website NanoVoice, N-A-N-O, voice.org. And there's a little instruction booklet there. There's charts there that you'll be seeing this evening. So as we looked at this last week and looked at those different transmitters, dopamine, I will bring those up so you can see what we did last week. When we were looking at NanoVoice, it really was designed as a personality profiler, but we found that we can do a lot more with it. When we looked at last week's information, we looked at that dopamine, that was a D sharp, the norepinephrine, which is the E, serotonin, which is an F, adiponectin is a note of B, and it controls appetite, but in a slightly different way, from the perspective of starvation. And a lot of people in southern Ohio, where we are, have this adiponectin that is an issue, because the adiponectin says, keep everything that's coming in. It goes high. So how do we use this chart? We explained a little bit of that last week, that when you begin to look at your voice, this comes up with 500 hits. How, now, brown, cow would give you 4 hits. So this comes up in a little column, and it'll give you a number at the top. I just kind of put these in. You'll see how these work this evening. So these are the ones that we looked at last week. For instance, if you have dopamine non-existent, there's nothing in that column of D sharp, then you're going to have a lot of trouble controlling dopamine, which controls your metabolism. And without the norepinephrine to support the dopamine, there's going to be more of a problem. We added a couple of things to this last week. We added leptin, which is around the same frequency as the norepinephrine. Now remember too, we said last week that almost everything is something else. That if we look at the note of E, E can be leptin, E can be norepinephrine, E can be the note of 20.60 or 20.64. So this program counts all those notes, counts them up, and begins to look at them and give you a picture. And if you've got a pencil and paper and you've been accumulating and looking at what all of this is, then you'll begin to see some of this for your own. Those of you who have big bellies, like what they call wheat belly or beer belly, then cortisol is probably the issue, and you have problems with weight from an adrenal perspective. And you can look at these from your body type. So we're going to do that this evening too. So cortisol, F sharp, serotonin F, norepinephrine and leptin E, and dopamine D sharp. Now for this evening, we're going to add a few. These are some of the nutrients. Those are biochemicals. So these are nutrients that you're going to be looking at. So acetylcholine is one. It's an F sharp. Fish oils, like salmon oil, that is essential. It's a D sharp. Now there's another one that's going to come up here. It's going to be carnitine. And carnitine, there's a carnitine and acetylcarnitine. Fatty acids, or these essential oils like a fish oil, is required for the use of carnitine. Now, for people who cannot gain weight, it's usually carnitine is way too high. And carnitine can be a note of E or a G sharp, depending on if it's carnitine from meat or acetylcarnitine that your body has turned into a bioavailable carnitine. Another issue, a micronutrient for your loss of weight, you must control your vitamin D. Vitamin D you can get from sunshine, you can get it from the fish oil, and you can get it from dark, leafy, green vegetables. Vitamin D is a note of G. Iron. Iron can be either too high or too low and cause a weight problem. One of the ways you know when iron is too high is that you'll have sore muscles, like you've been working out or something. The iron gets stuck in the body in places that it shouldn't and just causes pain. The acetylcholine regulates fat storage. So if you have a lot of cellulite, you probably have an issue with acetylcholine. Also know that cellulite hides poisons. You get exposed to some kind of pesticide, and the body can't deal with it right now, so it builds fat around it and deposits it someplace. A lot of the time, if your metabolism, your immune system is stressed, you'll have a lot of cellulite right below the curve of the bottom of your butt. And that just means your immune system is in stress because it can't use the sodium phosphate dibasic, which is a calcium-sodium kind of cell salt balancer. So all of these things come together as nutrients to help you. Know that those of you who've been exposed to DDT when you were smaller, probably people over 45 or 50, if you have belly fat, DDT turns into something called DDD, and it is most alike the frequencies of the muscles up the front of the stomach. So that may be another reason for a beer belly. The wheat in beer causes a beer belly. This normal wheat can cause a hard stomach. So looking at all of these together, and we're hoping we can help you put this whole picture together this evening. Zinc is another one that is required for you to be able to maintain a proper weight. And you know your zinc is low. One, you lose your sense of taste and aroma and smell, and you begin not to heal very fast. Things take a really long time for you to heal. So look at those, jot them down, and this is what we're going to work with this evening. The acetylcholine that regulates the fat storage, and the cellulite that's controlled by sodium phosphate dibasic. Also, you can tell where your weight issues are coming from when there are cravings. If you're craving salt, you probably need calcium. If you're craving sugars, you probably need something like magnesium. So just something to consider. Sugar usually blocks the absorption of calcium and magnesium. So this evening, now we're going to talk about nutrients. We're going to talk a little bit about body type. Whoops, and that's not where I wanted to go. Well, it said number 15, and that's not where that slide is. Here it is. We're going to talk a little bit about where the fat is on your body, because it lays down according to the organ and the system that's involved in your body fat. Now we're going to, in a few minutes, ask for volunteers. If those of you who come in don't know how to volunteer, go to the little green tab at the bottom or top of your monitor, and that will click that little green tab, and that will allow you to look at the participant list and also to volunteer. Yamira, Robert, would you put your hand up so I can know where to come back to you? What note was carnitine? There's two types of carnitine. The note of E, which is just carnitine, like you get from meat, and then acetylcarnitine, which is bioavailable carnitine, is a G sharp, and that is balanced with the D of the liver and the gallbladder that we talked about last week. I'm taking a drink here. And if you hear me just answering a question out of the blue, it's because I've come over here to the chat and I'm answering questions from that perspective. Okay, we have a booklet that we are developing for BioDiet. I'm going to bring it over so we can begin to look at some of these body types. This is from the booklet. The P-type woman, underdeveloped, look, baby fat all over, small breasts, angelic expression, rounded shoulders. And the P-type is the pituitary, not being able to fully exercise the pituitary, one of the master hormones of the body. This is a man pituitary type, baby face. And this is from the booklet that we're developing. Glands involved, the thyroid, weight appears in the hips and thighs and lower abdomen. This is the T, the thyroid type. Extra weight on the thighs, upper hips, curvy waist, tapering, long arms and legs, a rounded but not pronounced rear end, and fat on the stomach, mainly below the navel. You're looking at their adrenal issues. And we'd look at leptin and adiponectin because those all come from the adrenal, where the dopamine, serotonin, epinephrine all come from neurotransmitters. So this will have all the foods needed, nutrients needed. Okay, this is the third type, the adrenal. Strong, sturdy appearance, broad chest, thick, straight arms and legs, beer belly, a rounded rear end, and a thick neck. I think that just describes me. Gonads are the glands involved. Weight is held in the buttocks and outer thighs. Food preferences, greasy, spicy, cheese, and butter. And the fourth type, the gonad woman, characterized having a different size between upper and lower body, smaller waist. These are all the things that you'll learn once we bring this new program online to share with people. My apologies for not having it done. We have 2 people who have volunteered. So we're going to go, Robert, with Yamira first. We need to explain a little bit about the NanoVoice. One, that you can download it at nanovoice.org, straight from our site if you want to, just using our links, download. Here's NanoVoice. And I've been told the Spanish version went up today. There it is. And there's a 2-hour class to teach you how to use this, and also there are charts. Well, there were charts. Did they have to, click here to download the note correlate chart. They did have a picture of it up. Maybe they had to get rid of that when they put the Spanish version on there. But that's the quickest way to get your NanoVoice. So what this does is take your voice and divide it into notes, C, C sharp, D, so forth, and it divides it into different octaves. So a typical, I'll just open one, grab whoever's here. A typical set just looks like columns of different colors. And in that 2 hours, it'll teach you that yellow is thinking, green is doing, blue is feeling, and red is responding. It'll also show you what each of these octaves mean, that males and females' voices end up in different octaves. You can take these very literal. Where this person lacks is the note of D, and I've got the hiccups now. Hold on, I need a drink. So literally that is the note that has the least amount of numbers in it. So that is the weakest note in this chart. The note of A sharp has the most notes, along with C, 68, 69, 63. So A sharp has the most notes in it. That is the most overabundant note. We really need to have these notes that look kind of equal to each other and with an equal distribution. See if we can find one for you. This is the lady that we did last week, Tina. And we'll look at her wave file so that you can see an equal distribution of notes. It takes a little longer to bring in a whole wave file. You can see the equal distribution of notes, that this begins the thickest part of the voice. She has a great imagination. The higher up on the scale here, the more imagination someone has. But the imagination needs to be linked to the rest of the voice. Oh, this says it's Andrew Butler. So I clicked the wrong thing here. But we're going to be doing people's voice here. Today we're going to be doing, is it Yamira? Is that how you pronounce her name, Robert? He'll get his microphone on here in a minute. Okay, we are going to look at her voice in terms of neurotransmitters first, and then the nutrients that we talked about. We'd like to help all of you learn to use this particular format. Next week we'll be talking about a slightly different format, but you can still look at that, download it from our site. Go to, I think it's download radiation software. You can move down, and there is a booklet, Bioacoustic Basic Textbook, that you can download and look at the different forms of vocal profiling that we do. Robert, are you ready to look at this? You want to open your mic? Remember, we need 500 hits. The program will quit on its own at 500. I'm going to click on the microphone. And I'm hoping this is the right microphone that I have hooked up. We don't want one note mistaken for another, so we have a 3% no man's land in between each of these notes. Are you folks ready?
Yes, we are.
Tell us a bit about how your weight issue solved.
Yes, we're talking about your weight issues.
Hi, my name is Jamira, and I am only 5 feet tall, but I weigh 235 pounds. So it's quite a lot of weight for my legs and for my knees. It has been a struggle after my pregnancy, not so much before. I know that it's causing me definitely body image issues, but besides that is issues in my stomach, issues with my digestive system, even I think the mobility is getting, is getting affected. I need to continue. Sorry. Stress, the weight problem causes me stress. I think that it affects my sleep apnea.
Okay, we have it. 500. It quits the first breath you take after 500. Now, just what we know so far. Do you remember from last week, GABA was one of the issues, and GABA is G-sharp. GABA is the precursor for serotonin and norepinephrine. And unless you have GABA in stress, okay, I'm going to mute your mic here for a minute. You can bring it back on when we come up. I ask you a question. So GABA is an issue, and do you remember what G was when we looked at all of these notes? G was the vitamin D. 42 is normal. You're at 103 at vitamin D, so you are not using your vitamin D. It's overabundant, and we're going to look at a chart that's available for everyone. It's called a nutrient assimilation chart. And my computer is very slow in researching anything. And that's not the article I want. It came up over here. And it won't move. So your vitamin D is way too high. So we need to find out why your vitamin D is not working. So sunshine, dark green leafy vegetables, or fish oil, good fish oil, would help with the vitamin D to make it work. So you need calcium and phosphorus and vitamin A to make your vitamin D work. So we know that the vitamin D is way too tall. Zinc is missing. A, 58, the iron looks good. Slightly out of bounds, but no biggie. Now, the G-sharp comes with acetylcarnitine. Acetylcarnitine is your ability of your body to turn carnitine into something useful. Now, you mostly get carnitine from meat. So as we look at your nutrient assimilation chart, carnitine is an amino acid. Enhances the antioxidant effects of vitamin A. Twice we've seen vitamin A with sufficient amounts of iron, B1, B6, lysine, and methionine. Now, we didn't look at those, but we could run a nutrition report on you and begin to look at that. The program that we're doing, the 2-day program that we're doing, includes allergies, the bio diet, and the nutrition program. And that's the one that we just sent you an announcement today saying, or providing you a way to take that class for free. So we know that the G-sharp, the carnitine, is way too high. We know that the vitamin D as a G is high. What is the F-sharp? The F-sharp is serotonin. I'm trying to think. It's also acetylcholine. No, it's F that's the serotonin. I'm sorry. It's the F-sharp that's the acetylcholine. That regulates how much fat your body is going to keep. So somewhere in your history, you have ancestors who went through this feast and famine. Because that's where acetylcholine and acetylcarnitine come in. They get very unbalanced. Choline is a water-soluble vitamin. You can't have too much of it if they take a blood test. But if you're looking at the nutrient assimilation chart and you want to look at the vitamins and look at choline, the complex inositol, folic acid, cysteine, lecithin formulation. Now, if I were you, I would go to your health food store and I would find something that had acetylcholine, acetylcarnitine, and GABA in combination, because that's what you have in stress. Now, you might want to go look on the internet and see what foods, but we have a little shortcut to that. Look at this picture, and can you identify which body type you are? Now, you said this started when you had your child, so it could be gonadal, could be hormonal. But you said it's legs and bottom. Is that where you said your weight is? Robert, I'm going to open your mic so you can talk.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry. Yes, that's what I said.
So you think it's this lady, the thyroid lady?
I'm in between the one on the left, the pituitary, and thyroid. Looking at those two bodies, I don't know, they're very similar.
Okay, well, let's look at the thyroid and the gonads. And this is the thyroid lady. Tapering arms and legs, rounded butt, but not a big pronounced rear end. It looks like she has sort of a flat butt.
Yours is more rounded.
Pardon?
Yours is more rounded.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe she's the gonadal one. We'll go look here in a second. Carries weight well, maybe big bone, maybe square face. Do you like salty or fatty foods?
It varies. Gosh, sometimes I do.
Okay, so let's just make the assumption that you are the G type here. Do you have small shoulders and small breasts and small?
No, not at all.
Okay,
not
well
at all. That's not me.
Okay, so we probably should stick with the thyroid or maybe even the pituitary?
Exactly.
Okay, let's go look at the P version again. Childlike, underdeveloped look, baby, fat all over, small breasts and an angelic expression, rounded shoulders. Is that not you either?
Somewhat rounded shoulders, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not small bosomed.
And I was not an underdeveloped child, no. I'm sorry I'm giving you a hard time here.
Well, we'll just look for something with big boobies.
Okay.
Yes.
And stress is a big issue for her,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't be surprised if there's an adrenal aspect.
Adrenal and cortisol. Cortisol was an F sharp too, wasn't it?
I believe so.
So I just think we're not going to be able to stick with
I think that this one looks more like
the
me.
nano boys. I think we're going to have to go to bio diet and do this. So it looks like she may be the adrenal type. Sturdy line of her body, square face, large breasts. Will still have a straight back, tucked under rear, extra weight in the front of the body. Is that sort of right?
That's
Yeah, that
more like
sounds,
me.
sounds more like it, yeah.
That sounds more like me, yeah.
Okay, adrenals then. Best time to eat, light breakfast, light lunch, and moderate dinner. Foods needed, fruits, vegetables, avoids fats and meats, especially if you're an A-type blood. Food preferences, greasy, spicy, cheese, and butter.
Spicy, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we finally found it. You're that gonadal type. Lots of books out there. Just go to Amazon and just look under body types or metabolism. I just found a very nice one today about documenting your body type. But now I am so curious. I just don't know which one you are. So here is your report. Let me move that up just a little bit and then see if I can bring these other pieces in so we can look at them. I just have so much open here. I'm having trouble keeping it all open at once.
Is this one open now?
Oh, yeah, I think it's open, yeah.
Señora, ¿qué piso de eso?
Yeah, Sherry, Ymir just had a comment that might be helpful.
Okay.
Hi, I just find it very interesting when you were talking about the vitamin D, because my doctor said that I was deficient in vitamin D, so she gave me huge amounts of dosage of vitamin D. She gave me huge.
Like once a week, 50,000?
Yeah, I'm taking a huge amount prescription type. Of course, my husband was telling me otherwise, but I did it, and now look at the amount. I'm not even using it properly.
Yeah, it's the co-nutrients.
Yeah, that's the issue with how they look at serum vitamin D, what's running around in your body right now. So what we're able to look at is many levels. So you can see the G is supposed to be 42, and it's 103.
Yeah, because I'm taking huge amounts. So I'm very impressed with what you guys are doing. This is amazing.
Acetylcholine is the F sharp. That's way too high. And it also is a water-soluble vitamin. And choline needs inositol. And you can buy that at your health food store. Try to get a food-based.
Thank you.
Would that be like a B complex, Sherry?
More like choline and inositol usually
Just
come
that, okay.
together. And it helps eyes, it helps clarity of memory, it helps support the thyroid, and it really looks like she's got a bit of a thyroid issue there too.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can move this down just a little more. Nope, went too far. But those are the kinds of issues we're looking at if we just look at her nutrients. You know, the F sharp here, I'll try to align this, the acetylcholine. Let's go back and look at, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's go back and look at the neurotransmitters that we talked about last week and see what's there. So dopamine is missing, norepinephrine's missing, serotonin is too low. The GABA, that's the precursors to all of these, is outrageously high. So you've got neurotransmitters going against you too. And if you go back and watch last week's show where we were looking at things like dopamine and norepinephrine and serotonin. I'll go pull it over here. We were looking at dopamine, and this is the person that eats for pleasure, or they see it and want it, or smell it, they eat for the sensation of it. So this is all covered. This is dopamine, and then serotonin and norepinephrine. That's all covered in last week's hour class that we did. It gives you lots and lots of information.
And she does seem to respond to food, you know, from the smell and things like that. And it's kind of a mood thing. Like sometimes she, you know, there's certain foods she won't regularly eat. It's kind of like what you want at the time, right? And then sometimes she won't eat during the early part of the day because of the stress of work. And then it's, you know, meals and larger meals later in the day. So one of the things that probably kicks in is the starvation mechanism for not having the food in the morning, you know, so it becomes problematic for her.
So I would look at getting that adiponectin in order. And Robert, since you're a practitioner, the adiponectin is a -1 of glucose.
Okay, thank you.
If you want to go look it up.
Okay.
For those of you who are practitioners who want to take this course again, just so you can be introduced to this kind of thing and help set up a diet center for your people, please consider jumping into that week-long course again. They're trying to break it up by day, and we will be having an expanded software for that class too. And an expanded textbook. As you can see, I'm kind of looking out of that. So if any of you are interested in setting up a diet community, diet support, I was in shock that 147 billion, no, it's 174, had to turn around, $174 billion is spent on trying to lose weight annually. And we have had thyroid and hormones and dopamine and neurotransmitters and all that in our BioDiet program, but we've never had the adrenal function. We've had cortisol, but never the orexin and all of the things that go along with adrenal and stress and feast and famine. So those are the things that are being added to what we're doing. For those of you who are new with us, and it seems like there's a lot of you on new with us, next week we are going to be giving away some of these new BioDiet programs. So get the word out there as we explore this for next week also, and we'll be doing a drawing. Likely right on the show we'll be doing a drawing for some copies of that new software. Remember too that there is a radiation exposure software that is available for you right on the site. You can download that and start your bioacoustic center with that. There's textbooks, there's charts, everything you need to get started there, and we'll help you as much as we can. I am very, very curious about all of these. Robert, run her through the nutrients and see if any of these come up for her. Do you have the nutrition program? Robert, do you have the nutrition program?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so run her through. Look at the choline, the acetylcholine, the vitamin D, the nutrients that are definitely needed. GABA too. In the BioDiet genomes, you'll see the GABA receptors. And that's another issue. You can't go buy a receptor, a dopamine or a serotonin receptor at the store. But we can open it or close it looking at or using bioacoustics.
And I notice sometimes, Humira's the adrenergic obesity gene is high. which is not surprising, you know, because of the stress aspect that she has, and that's something she's trying to deal with. Cortisol is often high for her as well, so I do see stress running through some of her different prints.
Well, let's go back and look at the cortisol. Here's the cortisol at F sharp.
Yeah. And today's a less stressful day. I mean, she has some days that are quite stressful for her, and particularly one particular person at work that's a stressor for her.
Let's see, is it F sharp? Is it a Libra?
For her, she's actually a Leo. Oh, the person? That's a good question. I would have to check what his date of birth is.
Because Libra people can really run your cortisol high. And Pisces people, because they really won't tell you what's going on, they just want to keep the peace no matter what, they can really mess with your adiponectin. But a lot of people from genetic families, like Indian families and third world countries, where there was feast or famine, that adiponectin really plays an important part in causing this to be an issue.
And she's from Puerto Rico, so it's of course a formerly rural but tropical kind of. So I imagine her ancestors would have been in that position. You know, a lot of farming, but a very tropical area. So rich in some ways, not rich in other ways.
Well, if she had this tropical climate all the way, there's probably food all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So probably not a big issue unless that they came from a climate where they couldn't have food all year round.
Yeah, and she did have kind of in her childhood, in terms of her childhood, she had kind of some poverty issues, but some rich issues. She had kind of a second mother who was quite well off that she spent time with, but her birth family was not so well off. So I could kind of see how even in this generation, maybe that was resonating for her. Yeah.
Well, I'd also want to check out her hormone receptors, because she said this happened right around the time when she was pregnant.
Yeah.
So it could be that usually the psoas muscle, when the mother gives birth, the psoas muscle becomes torqued. That's the hip muscles that keep the that spread apart when the baby's being born, but when they come back together, the body may be torqued a bit, either left, right, or up and down. And that psoas is same frequency as one of the thyroid hormones.
Okay.
So that would be something else. I would run her through thyroid, the bio diet, the nutrition. Boy, what else? Hormones.
Maybe adrenal. Maybe adrenal burnout. Maybe the adrenal burnout.
Yes, the adrenal burnout. That's good for that would do that. Now we did a program called Parkinson's Commons. I think we should do one about nutritional commons.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to write that down, nutrition commons. And then that just gives you the basics from all of the different systems.
Yeah. And one thing I would also add to the historical issue with her weight, Sherry, is that when she came from Puerto Rico about 2 decades ago, 1993, she faced the much colder climate in the Northeast, at least part of the year very cold. So one of the questions I had was that, if it was the change in the weather, she also stopped drinking as much water when she got here. So I was wondering if maybe it might have been toxins not able to flush out of her body. So maybe it's stored, and maybe the change in the environment might have caused more of a keeping on of flesh to keep her warm. That's been a curiosity of mine. If maybe there was some aspect.
It could be, and it could even be emotional. To what's going on. So we're looking at F sharp, G, and G sharp. So her feeling physically safe and monetarily taken care of, that's some of the issues that come up with this F sharp, G, and G sharp.
Okay.
Something to consider. But she's got all 3 neurotransmitters gone, and GABA is sky high. I would start there.
Okay, will do.
Gamma butyric acid, because those are all precursors to the neurotransmitters. And all of that is in the BioDiet program.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Sherry.
You are welcome. Do we have another volunteer? If not, I am going to, oh, here's some other things. So Tina's print because Anana Voice didn't know you had changed it, but it kept the name Andrew. Okay. The document you're using looks amazing. Sharing my Center Beauty as well as health in the name, I think is good. Ah. Robert, that is a good point. I hear a baby in the background. Well,
That's my 8-year-old. He's playing a little bit.
okay, if we're not going to get any volunteers, let's take this a step further and put it in the BioDiet program, which means we're going to start with Audacity. She would give us 30 more seconds. Thank you, Tommy, for your comments. Chris,
I'm sorry, you need 30 more seconds of what?
Well, right at the same time I said that, Chris volunteered.
No problem.
We'd rather stick with Nano Voice. Okay, I think Chris has her phone up. We will take Yamira's further next week when we bring the actual program in and do a comparison. Hey, Chris, let's check your mic here. I'm going to unmute. Can you talk?
Hello, Sherry. Can you hear me?
I can, but there's totally too much wind or static or something on your mic. It's horrible.
Yeah, no, unfortunately there's a generator going outside my window, which is why I was wondering if it would work. But yeah, if it's making too much noise, then obviously it can't.
Yeah, and yes. Can you call by phone, or are you in a different country?
I'm in Australia.
Oh, well, we won't have you call from the middle of the night. Okay. So
thank you.
Thank you for volunteering, though. I'm going to put both of your names in the hat for that drawing for volunteering. Robert, we're going to come back to you and unmute again. Sorry for kicking you out and bringing you back. It didn't work with Chris. There was too much static on her line. So we're going to open Audacity. And I do think it's opened over on my display to the point where I can't get to it.
And Sherry, I'm just going to ask Yamira to come in from the other room. Can you hold on for a moment? I'll bring her in. If you need her.
Say that again?
I was just going to bring Yamira in from the other room. She stepped out for a moment. Bring her in if you want to have her voice again.
Okay. I'm going to have to go turn on another machine.
Okay.
Try to get this up anyway.
Okay, be right back.
We're going to be using something called Audacity, Audacity, if I can get it on.
Yeah. Can you give us another 30 seconds? Okay, she'll be right in.
I don't know if I'm going to get to do this or not because the machine won't cooperate.
Oh.
It is trying to open here on a, let me run around the other side of the room.
Excuse me. I'm going to put you through another program.
Oh, is that enough?
Yeah, she'll be right with us. She's trying to work out some mechanical kinks. Really? Your belly? Is something you ate? Yes. Oh, what is
It looks like someone has unplugged my machine. Nothing is working.
What is coworkers break? You know?
June 1,
Okay. If you were a Libra or Pisces, a Libra sends the cortisol through the roof.
Okay, I plugged everything back in. When we do programs with a live audience here, there is a third display. And sometimes that display gets stuff stuck on it, so I can't operate it. And it looks like that's what's happened at the moment.
Until what time is it?
I don't know. It might be 7. Might be later. I don't know. But you're almost.
Your whole conversation.
Sorry.
Robert, if you want to do a quick WAV file and send it to Sherry with your Audacity,
I'm
maybe
really
that might
sorry.
help.
I'm not feeling help.
I got it up, Tommy. It's just now coming open.
It's done.
Oh, but thank you. Somebody had unplugged the whole system. They were in here cleaning today, and the whole system got unplugged. Okay, I will need 30 seconds of your
Ready?
to just start and talk about you started to gain weight when your baby was born, and he's 8, and what happened in the meantime, and just go from there.
Yeah, so, you know.
What am I saying?
When you had your weight gain and everything like that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Paula, I agree. It would be better over a landline, but she's in Australia, and that's a lot of money to call. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this is Yamira Moreno. Again, when I had, am I too close to the microphone? Okay, Yamira Moreno. I had my child 8.5 years ago, and right after I had him, I actually weighed like 60 pounds less than I am right now. During my pregnancy, I was losing weight in a very healthy way. My child was a very healthy baby. A few months after that, we just went through a lot of family stress, extended family, and I think that's
Got it. And I am being reminded here that the neurotransmitters, some of them, are the same frequency as some of the jaw muscles. So in order to enhance or get those neurotransmitters to work, chewing will cause them to activate. So it's not really that you want to eat, you want to chew. So something like rice cakes that is very chewy but has like 6 calories in a whole great big rice cake. You know what I mean by a rice cake?
Yes, I know what it is.
So do you think that's part of yours, that you just like to chew and you like crunchy things?
I definitely like crunchy things. I thought that it was cultural because I come from the tropic, and I thought that it was cultural, but I do like crunchy things very much.
That would stimulate the neurotransmitters that you have missing. Maybe gum, but I think it needs to be crunchy things. Peanuts, but try rice cakes. Next time you get hungry, or next time you want to chew, try some rice cakes and see if that will satisfy you.
She even loves to chew ice, Sherry.
Well, I think we got the trigger here.
Yeah.
Those jaw muscles, and I don't remember which one it is. I will go look it up right after this. So jaw equals neurotransmitter.
That might be one of the pterygoids, no?
It could be.
Yeah.
I know one of the pterygoids is very close to adiponectin.
Yeah, that might be the medial.
Boy, we may have discovered something here. I'm going to add that. I'm writing a paper right now on the math of bioacoustic sound, how it goes beyond conventional medicine, and I was doing it based on why certain drugs cause blood clots. And because the drug is the same frequency as aldosterone, which increases blood pressure. This is a good one to add to that.
And I've also read, Sherry, some people believe that those who chew their food more than others actually live longer. We're talking about people reputedly like 150, 160, 70 years old. Supposedly, many of them say, I chew my food. So I find that interesting, too, if it's true.
Fletcherize your food.
Yes.
So we're going to, this program that I'm using right here is Abacus, and this is waiting for you, too. It's under that radiation exposure software. So we're going to go to the desktop. You know, I don't know where I saved that. I didn't even look. Isn't that awful? Export, and it went to Waves. It went right where it was supposed to. That's a shock. I wasn't paying enough attention. I was trying to get this machine on. Okay, so we go to Waves. Bring that in. A gray grid will come across, sort of across the middle, and anything on top of that's too high and not usable, and anything that's too low just isn't there. Ignore this little thing right here. This is just electricity. The most meaningful piece right here, for all of you practitioners, I'm going to put this in. I bet that is the cause of her whole issue. Isn't this great practice for those of you who are acoustic providers already? So I'll punch a little button here, see what comes up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It got me 6. Okay. I just have to fill in some stuff here. Online for bio diet. I'm going to make up a birthday because I'm trying to hurry. And female and weight issues. And I'm just going to keep this list of numbers. And I'm going to put it in my desktop GNF file. We tell you all how to set this up before you even take class.
And Sherry,
Yes.
the one that you focus on, 188,702, kind of almost looks like a triangulation. I know that's a bit beyond things for the non-practitioners, but I found it interesting.
Yes, it's wide open and it's active, and it looks like a bit of something that's out of control. Did she have an induced labor?
No, well, let's see. She was doing it naturally. And she nearly widened to full dilation, but they had to break the bag and bring him out because he did. There's some meconium that came out, so they did kind of have to break the bag and kind of bring him out, but it wasn't drug-induced labor.
Yeah, I would want to look at that too. So this is real easy. We aren't supposed to be doing this for the people who are new here. It's just I just can't keep my little fingers off of this. And we have somebody else who wants to volunteer here, but we are out of time. I'm just going to look at these. I'm going to get rid of pathogens, toxins, herbs, medications. I'll leave genes. But these are just some of the things that we can look at on BioDiet. And Robert, I am going to look. All right.
But sweetie, and I haven't fun, but we're online here.
Hi. So if we just hit report, then we'll begin to look at some of these. Serine, that's going to make her want wheat. Biotin, high, not good. Pantothenic acid, low, that helps with the energy cycle of the body. Vitamin B6, high. None of this can be high. It's all water soluble. So she has some B vitamins in stress. There's the zinc. Calcium is high, not working. That can cause your vitamin D to not work. There's that adiponectin. Regulate metabolism of the glucose. See if you can support that for her. You know how to make your formulas. Amylase high, that would be good. Biotin, water soluble again. When you have biotin high, sometimes you feel little creepy crawlers on your skin. Serine low, that would make you crave bread. And you'd have trouble digesting fats. Just a little bit more to know about that. I'm going to go over to my research program and put this information in because I want to see her GABA information. We're not going to be able to get to you, Jips, but next week if you come back, you can be first. Now I'm going to have to move some of this off-site, but Robert, I will provide this to you offline here. I'm going to quit sharing so I can look at just your receptors, Yamira, and I can't share this because it's full of frequencies, and that's the crux of what we're going to do. Any of you who would like information about taking this upcoming 2-day class? That's funny, Paula. I never know where my keys are. Ask Tommy. Half the time I can't remember where I am. Okay, I am going to run this report, Robert, and get this to you right now. All I'm doing is putting Yamira's information into a more sophisticated program, and I am running one thing, her genomes. And if I possibly can, I will move this over so all of you guys can see it at the same time. But I have to get the frequencies off the Okay, Tommy, let me know if I've got frequencies on there and I'll move them over more. Can you see any of the frequencies? Did I hide them well enough?
Yeah, they're hidden.
Okay, we're going to look for GABA. There, the GABA receptor is low. Dopamine's high. Cholecystokinin, which means the pancreas is in stress. Here's a breakdown of levodopa is not getting done, so the dopamine's not in there. Insulin receptors are high. Lipase receptors are high. Pituitary, progesterone. You get a lot of it thrown in. Thyroid hormone, pituitary, enzymes, insulin, GABA, dopamine, and cholecystokinin. You can't have much more conglomerate mix. No wonder we couldn't find any one picture that fit her. She's all over the place. And it's a little bit of all of them that's causing the problem. Well, that's good to know. Yes, you may, Wing Soon. Yes, absolutely, you can attend the next class. If you're ready to go again, you just got out of one. The pre-class will start the 16th and 17th, and then the 5-day class will follow that. Well, it is 7:08. Thank you for being here. We will have this up on the site, I hope, in the morning because they're getting stuff together and getting stuff done earlier. So here's Happy Hours, Fat Your Friend, and they will probably put both of these on here together. Yes, fat is your friend. Genetically, when we were in a state of feast or famine, if you couldn't put on fat for the winter, you died. And fat is your friend in that it will segregate toxins and poisons in your body until your body is ready to deal with the poison. So if your immune system is not good, if your detox system is not good, then your body will go ahead and round up the poisons and segregate it inside a fat capsulation and keep you from dying from the poison. So absolutely, fat is your friend. So that's a new way to look at it. Well, thank you, Belly Fat, for allowing me not to be poisoned with DDT. I'll try to detox that DDT stuff, and you can leave, but we'll be friends. All right. We'll talk to you next time. If you love this, tweet it on to your Facebook people.